In this video, we're going to walk through a couple of examples on conversions, and in these examples, we're going to be using more than one conversion factor during the process. So if you remember last video, what we talked about was the steps for converting units, writing down the given value with the units, creating a solution map, making an empty fraction, and putting the conversion factors in to that empty fraction. In this example, we're going to work through a couple of problems, converting problems. Notice they are giving us 1 week, and they're asking for the number of minutes. So we are converting from the units of week to the units of minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started by writing down what is given. We're going to write down 1 week. And now we're going to create several conversion factors that will allow us to go from weeks into minutes. The first conversion factor that I'm going to use during this process is I don't know how many minutes are in a week, but I do know that 1 week is equal to 7 days. Sometimes the conversion factors we will need to look up, but sometimes the conversion factors we will know from common knowledge. So one of the conversion factors that we know from common knowledge is it allows us to go from week to days. So I'm going to multiply by an empty fraction, and I'm going to put this conversion factor into this empty fraction. One side goes to the top, and then the other side goes to the bottom. What we learned was the way that we know which one goes to the top and which one goes to the bottom is we have to put it in so the units cancel out. So since I have the units of week right here, I'm going to put 1 week on the bottom, and I'm going to put 7 days on the top. And the whole purpose of doing that, it allows the weeks to cross out. Now I'm in units of days, but they didn't ask me for units of days, they asked me for units of minutes. So my next conversion factor that I'm going to use is I know that 1 day is equal to 24 hours. That's a conversion factor that I know. So I'm going to add on another conversion factor. We haven't done this before. Our previous example only contained 1 conversion factor. So now I need to put this conversion factor in. Look, there's still 2 empty spots, a top and a bottom, and there's 2 pieces, 1 day or 24 hours. How do I know how to put this in? I make sure the units cross out. I have days on the top, so I know I'm going to put units of days on the bottom. So I put 1 day on the bottom, and I put 24 hours on the top. So now the days cross out. Now my answer would be in units of hours, but they didn't ask me for units of hours, they asked me for units of minutes. So I'm going to make another conversion factor. I know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So now I make another conversion factor. Sometimes our conversions are only 1 step. Sometimes, like this, there's 3 steps. So I put my conversion factor in. Because I have hours on the top, I know that the units of hours are going on the bottom. That's how I decide which one goes on the top. I've got 2 pieces of information. One goes to the top, one goes to the bottom. The reason I put the hours on the bottom is so that the units will cross out. When you get units on the top and units on the bottom, they'll cross out. So 1 hour is 60 minutes. So the hours cross out with the hours. I now have my answer in minutes is what I'm asked for. And so now I'm going to take this, and here's how we put it on the calculator. Anytime the numbers are on the top, we multiply by them. If the numbers are on the bottom, we divide by them. We don't have to worry about any of these units because they all crossed out except for minutes. So my final answer is going to be in minutes. Because all the numbers on the bottom are 1, I don't need to worry about those. If I divide any number by 1, it's not going to change, so I can just keep it as 1. So I'm going to take 1 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 24 multiplied by 60, and that will give me my final answer. My final answer comes out to 10,080 minutes. 10,080 minutes as my final answer. If any of these numbers happen to show up on the bottom, I would have divided by those numbers instead of multiplied. Numbers on the top of my conversion get multiplied. Numbers on the bottom, I divide by them. So now let's take a look at this second example. Number of inches in 1 mile. So I start with 1 mile. I'm going from units of miles to units of inches. And I multiply by a conversion factor. And I don't know how many inches are in a mile. But what I can do is look up, and here on this conversion chart it shows that 1 mile is 5,280 feet. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So now I'm going to use this conversion factor and put it into here. How do I put this in? I know that because I've got miles on the top here. I could, if I want, start out by miles divided by 1, if that makes it look a little cleaner, and then I put the 1 week divided by 1. Then you can clearly see what's on top, what's on bottom. And I multiply by, I'm going to put 1 mile on the bottom because I want the miles to cross out, 5,280 feet on the top. Now the miles will cross out. But I'm not asked for feet, I'm asked for inches. This one I know off the top of my head. I know that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. So I'm wanting to cross out feet, so I'm going to put the 1 foot on the bottom and then the 12 inches on the top. So the feet cross out. And now I get 5,280, and I multiply by 12. So technically it's 1 multiplied by 5,280, and then multiplied by 12. And that gives me an answer of 63,360 inches. If we didn't quite get to the answer that we wanted in terms of inches, we could have just added another conversion factor and kept going. So these are a couple of examples of how to use multiple conversion factors when you're converting units. This process is called dimensional analysis. I hope this helps with dimensional analysis.